This is an interesting experience.
I know.
Okay, so I'm here with Melissa and Nancy at Cabrini's Career and Development Center. How are you guys today?
We're great.
We're
How are
good.
you?
I'm good. Okay, so tell me how about you got involved with the career and development here at Cabrini.
You want to start? Since I just
I got involved with career and development at Cabrini by applying for an open position. I found it on Higher Ed Jobs, and Cabrini looked like a great place to work, a good small school. And so it's really, I think, Nancy's doing that got me here. And it's as simple as that for me.
Mm-hmm. And I've been at Cabrini College for, it will be this summer, 25 years. So
Oh, wow, congrats.
So I've been in this line of work for many years, and actually prior to coming to Cabrini, I was also in this line of work at Harcum College.
Okay.
So it has really been my lifelong ambition, and I'm glad to say that I've been able to be at Cabrini College.
Awesome. Can you describe for me what is essential for upcoming graduates?
You want to start that one?
Okay. They have to, some very basic things, they have to be knowledgeable about the job market, and they have to know what they want. They have to have a goal, they have to do their research thoroughly, they have to take advantage of any and everything in terms of events, people they know for networking. It's really
LinkedIn accounts.
LinkedIn accounts, exactly. All those things, utilizing us, utilizing family members, friends, neighbors. They have to be sure they have an excellent resume, they have to have a perfect cover letter resume, and those are just the basics.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would just reiterate all of those things. I think that, starting off on a job search is challenging, but if you kind of can figure out what should you be doing, it gets a little bit easier. If you have all the tools lined up, then you can do all these things. If you get comfortable talking about yourself, if you practice your elevator pitch, then going into a networking situation becomes so much easier.
Right.
So really taking advantage of the tools, resources, faculty members on campus, our office, other resources, really important.
Okay, awesome. Help me to understand what employers look for in potential employees.
And potential employees in general. All right, they're looking for people who are knowledgeable, who can think critically, who can analyze work, who are thorough, can be team players as well as work independently. Honesty and integrity is very important. I would say those are the essential things.
Yeah, they want a well-rounded individual. They want somebody that can, work with, like Nancy said, in a team. They want somebody who can work individually. They want all the duality, I think, that exists, in a person. So that's why a liberal arts major is still a really fantastic degree to have, or a liberal arts degree, because they want somebody that has all the qualities that come from, participating in the ECGs. You have ethics and morals that they want. And you have integrity that comes from there as well. They want you to have a little bit of technical skills. They want you to be able to be creative, and, think outside the box on problems. And they also want you to be able to tell a story with data, tell a story with a video, tell a story with any sort of project that you might have had, and that just helps you communicate.
I would like to add one other thing, too, to that I think they really do expect people to come out of college being professionals. And I know we have heard from employers, we've had college students in internships and some, even in employment situations, that they've been disappointed in the fact that some of the graduates don't have the soft skills that are really needed today, and they don't know what professionalism in the workplace is, that they shouldn't be always on their cell phones.
Right.
And, they're there to do work.
Yeah.
And add on one other thing as well, I think, is that dressing professionally also is very important. Learning, that you need to have a tie, or that you need to, your 7-inch heels are not exactly appropriate for working, in a corporate office. That, maybe going out Friday night, sure, but office, a lower heel is important for women. Or even when you're dressing for an interview, going and buying a suit. I had a student ask me one time, do I need a suit for an interview?
Yes.
Yeah, you can suit for an interview, absolutely. And Nancy has a story about a career fair, a person who didn't, really know what dressing professionally was.
Oh my
I
gosh.
said to this was several years ago, I said, wear your best clothes you have. And there was a cultural difference too. She was, I think she might have been Indian, I'm not sure, I don't recall that. So she arrives in an evening gown.
Oh my gosh.
In the evening gown, and she looked beautiful.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Mary, does anybody say anything to her? So
Yeah.
I learned from that I've got to be really specific.
Yeah. Okay, so there was an article that talked about how business leaders think graduates aren't adequately prepared for the workforce. Why do you think they think that way?
I think that's because, for many different reasons, perhaps, and it depends on which perspective you take on it, but I think that a lot of employers see this current generation of recent graduates who are entering the workforce as a little bit, this generation feels a little entitled, and I think that's what comes across, is when you're entitled, you feel like you don't have to work as hard, you feel like people should be doing things for you, you feel like people should be helping you out with things or doing your work for you, or that you should be allowed to play with your phone because, I'm a Gen Y. Like, I need to play with my phone at work, so I'm going to play with my phone at work. And so I think it's that attitude that, comes along with being entitled, and that's what employers are seeing. I don't think it necessarily means that they're unprepared, but that they present themselves as if they're a little unprepared sometimes.
Right.
I would agree with her.
What do you know about current employment trends?
Okay. Essentially, I would say what we're seeing an increase, I believe, in hiring. I think things are opening up for students, especially in this area. I think, and this is nothing new, I mean, if graduates are willing to perhaps go a little further afield than just staying in the Philadelphia metropolitan area, but especially our education graduates, if they would be willing to go down south or perhaps to the western part of the state or even up to the northeast, there's definitely more opportunity than right in Philadelphia and in New York City and in Washington, D.C.
Right.
It's improving though.
Okay.
You want to add anything?
I agree. I think that something that we've learned over the last year or so is that if you can find an edge for yourself, if you can learn how to analyze, or if you know how to use or make a website, or if you have any sort of really technical skills using Excel really well, that gives you an edge. And so learning how to spin that information to an employer, the trend is that if you have something else, you have a major, but you have something else that accompanies that major, that really does you well, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything I haven't asked you that you think I should know?
That's always a good question. I think, I would just add that it would be really important, I think, for our students to, from the time when they arrive on campus, or even before they arrive on campus, to really start thinking about themselves, self-assessment, what their strengths are, what their passions are, what they like. And maybe for a 17 or 18-year-old, they don't think about that too much, but it would be helpful for them to do. And then, chart a path for themselves as best they can, going through their 4-year plan, or 5, whatever it is, and make sure they prepare themselves for graduation with things like internships, getting research experience with a professor, but things that are really going to make them marketable when they
Right.
graduate.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, and I would say, to be successful in college, you want to get involved. Try different classes, try different activities, try different clubs, sign up to go to Guatemala or to New Orleans or whatever the campus ministry trip is going to be. And try to get involved off campus if you're, if you have the ability to do that, or get a part-time job, do an internship that's totally left field that you never thought of before. Just to try it out, get your feet wet, and get a couple credits. Or try something that's an experiment for yourself. Step out of your box a little bit, because that becomes your edge in an interview when you get to senior year and you're looking for jobs. Oh yeah, I did have an internship one time with the 76ers, and that really stands out. especially in the Philly area where everybody knows all the Philly teams. Everybody's,
Yeah.
a Philly person.
That's right.
And to take advantage of all the resources on campus. There's so many.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, thanks for allowing me to interview today.
Oh, you're
Absolutely,
welcome.
yes.
It was great.
Thanks.